I wanted to I want to discuss how I believe the Bible is the ultimate guide to life. Now, for a moment, we're going to disregard the Old Testament because the New Testament is kind of like an update to it, like the laws you'd follow and such. A good example is when Jesus talks about Moses and the time of Moses, there was a law or rule or something called an eye for an eye. And later on, you know, Jesus explains that if someone wrongs you, like if someone, I think he used the example of if someone slaps you, you turn the other cheek. And also just looking at as a man, looking at the example of Jesus and the way he lived, it's exemplary. First of all, I genuinely believe that if every single person, every single man followed the example of Jesus or lived as close as they could to Jesus, the world would pretty much be perfect if anyone still has any complaints. But the main point is we're meant to live as close as possible to Jesus. When you look at, let's first of all examine Jesus's life. So he grew up, was pretty much obedient to his parents, which is, I think, the fourth commandment, which says honor your father and mother. He was obedient to his parents growing up. We've seen I think there were a couple stories about that. He started his ministry at age 30, if I'm correct. So he went out there and started preaching, and you know, got baptized, started preaching, and a lot of his stories also. He taught a lot of lessons and parables. Just like a couple days ago, I read one talking about is it the five foolish virgins and the five wise ones, where he was like, okay, there were five who brought like extra oil or something for the lamps, and five who didn't, and five of the wise ones who brought extra oil were allowed into the banquet, while the five who didn't tried to get some from a market. And as they arrived back, the doors were closed. And the lesson for that was you need to be prepared for the end of times when the kingdom is coming. Basically, death could arrive at any time, and after death, you will be judged. So be ready for that and prepare for that. There were also multiple other stories. I haven't really gone through them. Maybe I could make like future videos on it some other time, but essentially, something I love about it is the example of Jesus and the way he lived. And you could also, even if you go back a couple pages and stuff, you could also take examples from other prophets or saints. For example, Saul, who turned to Paul. Now, he used to, was it, I don't know if he killed them, like if he was killing Christians or not, but I think he was getting them arrested or something like that. And well, Jesus came to him like a light on his face, and he was blind. He got cured and started, preaching. He even has his own book in the Bible, pretty much. So chapters like dedicated to his writing. And you also have to see that what that teaches me is that change is possible, and even no matter the circumstance you're in, you could always convert and become better and live an exemplary life. Right now, he's regarded as a saint in churches and, you know, well respected guy at the moment. And yeah, you could also look at a lot of mistakes. It also corrects a lot of sins, covers pretty much almost everything. Tells you how to deal with sins, how to prevent them, how to all of that. For instance, the Bible tells us that we should just run away from lust, that it's pretty much in our flesh and in our desire, and we should avoid at all costs. Even says something like, if your eyes cause you to sin, pluck them out. But you obviously you're not meant to do that. But if you interpret it properly, it simply just means do what you can to prevent yourself from falling into sin time and time again. So in general, it just has great lessons. I'll read more on it and give my opinion on it here. But for now, that's really all I have to say.